Welcome to our another topic, which is audit reality. Today we are looking at the moment of truth for any security program. The audit. Most organizations believe they have a handle on their software trust. They see signed files and green check marks and feel confident. But when professional auditors arrive and ask for the specific evidence behind those signatures, that confidence quickly collapses. Today we will explore why proving trust is much harder than performing trust. Every audit eventually boils down to one simple, devastating question. Show us how this specific version of this software was authorized. It sounds straightforward, but in practice, this question exposes the massive air gap in our security architecture, the complete absence of any technical binding between your business approval, the act of signing, and the final release. When the pressure is on, teams often point to their build logs. But we must be clear, operational logs do not equal authorization. A build log shows you that a process happened. It shows that a compiler ran and a signature was applied, but it does not prove that those actions were allowed, reviewed, or approved by a human or a policy. An auditor does not care if the machine was busy, they care if the machine was authorized. As we have discussed throughout this series, certificates are identity artifacts. A valid signature proves that the holder of the key performed a cryptography operation, but auditors care about intent and authority. They want to see the permissions behind the possessions. Simply proving that you use a valid key does not prove that you are following the rules when you used it. Most organizations rely on change management systems like Jira or ServiceNow. These systems record approval in a vacuum. There's no systemic or cryptographic link between the approved status in your ticket and the signed binary sitting on your server. Without a digital thread connecting the two, you are asking the auditor to take a leap of faith to assume that the binary you released is actually the one that was approved in the ticket. You cannot audit what you cannot enumerate. Traceability requires knowing the starting point. Yet, most organizations cannot produce a complete real-time list of all signing certificates, their current human owners, and their complete usage history. When your inventory is a best guess spreadsheet, your audit trail is fundamentally broken from the start. During an audit, teams often spend weeks in reconstruction mode, digging through all emails, Slack messages, and server logs to try and prove why a release happened 6 months ago. But audits require certainty, not inference. Reconstructing history is just telling a story. An auditor requires authoritative and alterable proof. If you have to find the evidence, you've already failed the audit. The real killer of auditability is the emergency. Hot fixes, weekends releases, and critical exceptions often bypass formal processes just to get the job done. Over time, these exceptions become the standard operating procedure. When an auditor sees that 40% of your releases followed an exception path with no documentation, your entire control framework loses its credibility. Auditors also look at the negative space. How do you remove trust? They'll ask for proof that when a key was suspected of compromise or a developer left the company, that trust was removed effectively and consistently. Most organizations cannot provide this proof because their revocation processes are manual, slow, and unmonitored. If you cannot prove, you cannot stop trust. You are not reality in control of it. This leads to a frustrating cycle. The same audit findings resurface every year. They might be rewarded or prioritized differently, but the root cause remains unresolved. Without a systemic change to how signatures are bound to approvals, you'll continue to have a material weakness in your software supply chain governance year after year. The ultimate consequence is that software trust becomes an assumption, not a fact. When trust cannot be proven with data, the organization is operating on belief. This creates significant legal, regulatory, and financial risk. In a model compliance environment, trust us, we signed it. It is no longer a valid defense. To conclude this topic, if trust cannot be proven, it does not exist. That is the uncomfortable truth that every audit eventually reveals. We must move away from hope-based security and toward evidence-based governance. In our final topic, the next topic, we'll go on and finding other solution that we can use.